All right, so at this point you should have all of your data sets entered. And I know that as of right now, the logical parts of you are thinking, how is he recording? And he has his phone camera. Does he have two phones in there? What's going on? There's a GoPro. I found a GoPro down here, so we're live streaming. So just want to make sure, because I know Michaela is really thinking about these things right now. Okay, so look at number 2. It says to create a histogram on your calculator and sketch it. All right, easy enough. We've done. Man, his stomach is just bearing down on me here. So plot 1. That's what where we're gonna, of course, do this. So go to second y equals. That takes you to your stat plot, and go to plot 1. Of course, we want to turn it on. Step 1, of course, and then we want to scroll to where, for the type, we want the histogram, so the third one over. I think it's the third one over. I wasn't fortunate enough to have him eat me with a calculator. Would have passed some time, but X-list will be your L1, so that's your height, and then your frequency. We've only done frequency as 1. Now we actually want to make it a list. So for your frequency, make that L2. So what that says then is the frequency contained in L2 corresponds with those matching heights in L1. And we can graph those two as a set instead of just individually. Now, because of your calculator not being as well, maybe it's from the Stone Age, because it can't do everything that it really should do, we have to hit second mode first. So you're going to have to hit second mode. That'll take you back to your home screen. And then we're going to go to our window. So the window, hit window, of course. The X min will be 26. Our X max will be 41. The X scale will be 1. And the Y min is 0. X max is 110. Y scale is 11. Now, I'm going to ask a favor up there. Could you at least show them via the camera what's kind of going on there with that? Show them the calculator. All right, just to make sure they have everything. Thank you. All right, now that you have that, hit graph. And what you should have is a graph that looks kind of normal. We don't know if it's perfectly normal, and we'll never know if any graph is perfectly normal, and that's okay. We don't need to know perfect, we need to know approximate. So what you should have then is an approximation of what would look like the normal curve. And you can graph that right now if you want. If you want to save that for later, that's fine too. I mean, I'll give you about 30 seconds or so. I'm not doing anything in here, so. Bolin, I hope you're Snapchatting this, or Instagramming, or Facebooking, or something, because I'm pretty sure there's never been a lesson from Inside of Dinosaur before. Okay, you should be mostly done. Again, you have it on your calculator. If you want to graph it later, that's fine. All right, so flip your notes over. On the back, number 3 says to calculate the mean and standard deviation. Now, is this going to be for a population or a sample? Anybody? Anybody? Bueller? What do you think? Feeney? You got an idea? Okay, so it is for a sample. It's not a population, even though it kind of looks like it. They didn't specifically say that it's for a population. So I think that should be kind of the tip-off there. So we should use X bar and we should use S instead of mu and sigma. We want to calculate the sample. Now, something in the book that you didn't read that I'll just kind of tell you about, it might have been the last book I'll ever read now, is that they sampled, they got what they thought was a pretty representative sample from their dinosaur population, and based on the data, then Ian Malcolm, the guy who was played by Jeff Goldblum, he said in the book that it was a sample. There was no way that they could know if it was a population because the island's too big, which, you know, just further proves what I've said before about population and census taking is very tough to do. Okay, so calculate the mean and standard deviation. One var stats, pretty easy, except we're going to go to stat. We're going to hit calc. Okay, so scroll over to calc, of course. Done. One var stats. Now, with those one var stats, we want our list to be L1, just like always, but our frequency list, FREQ list, that should be L2. I think it says FREQ. It's, I don't know, the pressure of this stomach bearing down on me has caused me to forget things. So I think it says FREQ list. Make that L2. I'll wait. Okay, it really shouldn't take you more than like 5 seconds. So once you hit enter, you'll find that the mean is 33.5, and your standard deviation should be about 2.56 approximately. Now, if you truncate it, if you round it, it might be a little bit different. But let's just, I'll take the 2.56. That's good enough for today. I really don't want to get into more decimals because I'm inside of a dinosaur. And that's really the last of my worries. My biggest worry is how am I going to drive to pick up my daughters today? Okay, so number 4, find the total number of animals. 660. It's easy. It says n equals 660. That's it. If you can't get that, well, that was like one of the first few things we did in class. So, number 5. We're moving right along today. Man, this is good. Maybe I should always do notes from inside of a dinosaur. Number 5 says to find the relative frequency. Now, the relative frequency, we can do that. We haven't done that before with our calculator, but with our calculator, what we want to do is we still want to save that. So type in L2 divided by 660. Okay, we're basically saying that entire list that we found, we're going to divide it by 660, which was our total number of data points. And then we want to store that, so STO, into L3. I think it's second 3. That sounds right. So go ahead and do that. My battery's kind of running dead on my phone, so I'm going to let you do that, and I'm going to turn this off here real quick. Okay, and I'll come back here in a second.